Okay, go ahead. Thank you, Dan.
All right. Primary reason I'm here is just to keep kind of plugging this, answer questions. There's not anything rocket science here. You catch a fish with one of these tags in it. There's two colors. There's a white tag, that's a $150 tag, and then there's orange tags. In the picture fish up there, but it'll have two tags just like that sticking out on most of the orange tag fish. The orange tags for two, they're 25 bucks a piece, so if the fish has two of them, that'll be 50 bucks. There might be a few fish that have a single tag, orange one, but most will have doubles. And the reason we're double tagging is we're trying to check how well these tags stay in the fish. It's something that, working with Coastal Carolina on it, going into this, they thought we'll just look up in the science literature what the retention rate is for this type of tags. Figured it was well documented, and it hasn't been documented at all. So they will want to include this in some of their scientific writings when they're all done, and it kind of relates into the summer mortality stuff. So it's part of the science, and it's going to be able to put in there documentation of how well these tags actually work for striped bass. We've used them previously and years ago. I expect the retention to be pretty high, but that's the primary reason. And reason why we have some real expensive tags, we're kind of hoping that that's the control. There's several ways to figure out how many people catch a tag fish but don't turn them in. And one of the ways is to provide a high enough reward on some of them that people can't refuse to not turn them in. So the idea is almost everybody that catches an expensive tag will get it back to us one way or another. And then because they're so expensive and it costs a lot of money to do it, the rest of them will do it on a little bit cheaper tag. But I really just wanted to plug this so you guys kind of talk about it, know about it, and it gets kind of discussed in the circle. So if somebody catches a fish, they know what to do with it. One of the important things is if you catch a fish with a tag, we want you to take it off, and we want you to send it back to us.
Just pull it out or cut it off?
I've told people to pull it out or cut it off. John, they don't always pull out, do they?
No.
The taggers are getting them in really good. So I would probably recommend just playing on whatever you cut fish in line with, it'll cut through it. So it might be easiest. If you can just grab a hold of it and pull it out without tearing the tag up, that'd be fine.
Probably healthier for the fish to not pull it out.
Probably pulling it out may even be a little better, because then it'll have a little entry. I mean, with the tag in there, there's always going to be a little sore around that tag, and it'll be able to heal completely over if that tag's gone. But if you clip it close enough, it'll probably go inside and be able to heal over. Either way, it'll work, but John found it.
Pull and clip is a great idea. Pull and clip if you can't get it out.
Yeah, that would work too. If you pulled it kind of real tight and clipped it up against the skin, it would probably sink back in enough to heal over.
Are we supposed to be tagging these fish ourselves when we catch them, or y'all do the...
We're doing the tagging, and then all your responsibility is, if you catch a fish with a tag in it, is get the tag back to us. In the past, we've done different reward systems, knowing people aren't going to turn them all in, and we've had some correction factors for that. Some people said, well, the old system wasn't high enough. They turn it back in, let it go and say, let somebody else catch it with a tag. Or they'll catch a fish and put the tag in their tackle box and find it 3 years later, put it in their pants pocket, and their wife throws it away when she does laundry or whatever. So there's all kinds of reasons that these things don't get turned in, and a lot of people just didn't take them off the fish. I'll let somebody else get the tag. But we really want these fish when they're caught.
Weight and a measurement on the fish when we...
Yes, there is 4 places now that you can deposit tags if you don't want to send them in the mail. Our address, my address is on the tag, so you can do it that way. If you got a $150 tag and you say, I don't really trust the post office to get it there, you can drop it off here at a meeting, and I've got a little form just to remind you of things we want. And it's basically the date you caught the fish. The date's really important because we're kind of tracking it time series. We want to know what time of year all these fish are caught. The size of it, were you fishing with bait or artificial, and the nearest mile marker, some general location. And so we're just using mile markers so we know whether it was caught in midwater, Roanoke, or upper Blackwater, something like that. We're not trying to find anybody's fishing holes. So markers are pretty varied in where that fish might have come from. But anyway, you can turn a tag in here. You can turn them in at Smith Mountain Lake Bait and Tackle, Captain's Quarters, or there's a few people that don't live too far from my office. It can be brought by our DWR office in Forest. So you got 4 drop-offs in the mail. The main thing is just keeping that stuff going so when people come to the lake and they catch it, they have some idea. I figure word in the mouth and keep letting people know. And you folks talking about to the people you know, that's a whole lot better than getting the information just hanging a poster up somewhere along the boat ramp that usually people don't read.
So do you want to weight in a link?
Just the length.
Just length.
Yeah, we don't need a weight. Is there any questions?
I'm sure you got a database of where all these tags were put on it, right? Like
I do.
locations, yeah.
Yep.
What determines the red, the orange versus the white tag when you guys are tagging them?
Dealer's choice.
Pretty much.
Whatever shows up on your fish.
Most of the time, we're getting the 150s in first.
Okay.
I think that's what most of us are doing, is trying to get rid of most of those up front and then finish up with the orange. Yes.
How many?
It'll be about 360 fish total that are tagged
Wow.
with one or the other. There's 80 $150 tags and the rest are orange.
Do you send back where the fish was tagged at? Catches it?
I always did in the past. There was somebody that had some reservation about that. Do you have reservation about people getting a tag back? Because it's not like all these are going to be posted. I don't know. In the past, we always have. We've always, that was part of it. I get the tag in, I fill out a little form, send it to the club, they give you the reward, and I've always said that fish was caught on such and such a date in this area.
I mean, so that's when it was tagged originally?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you like in a duck band, you'll get the feedback where it was banded at and stuff like that.
Yep.
Cool.
But it's something now, that the ones we've tagged, we have not caught any tagged fish, and we're catching fish, so they're tagged and they're gone. So,
Well, what would you do if you
Take
get
it back.
the hell out of Dodge?
Ice picked you in the back.
Any other questions?
Any other questions for Dan?
Okay, bringing up one other point. He had a little picture up there. I'm going to mention descending devices. I've already had it a couple times with fish that I've been tagging. In the wintertime, the stripers can take quite a bit of punishment, and when I'm reeling in a fish to tag, I'm not trying to get him in the boat as fast as I can because I don't want to jerk him right out of the water in about 20 seconds and then be having to be handling them and the fish flopping around and fighting them and everything in the boat to settle them down to get a tag in them. So I'm bringing them in a little bit slower than I would the rest of the time of year. And being a little cold, and if it's deep water, I've had a couple that didn't want to go back down. A lot of people haven't had that problems. Before this year with a normal size fish, I never had a problem except for 2 fish that were larger. I had a 41-inch fish one time that couldn't go back down, and then a 30-some inch fish one time in the winter I couldn't get to go back down without some kind of device. Everything else has always gone back down. It hasn't been an issue. But you had it happen, right, John?
kind of nice, yeah.
And that fish wasn't deep caught.
5 minutes trying to revive it. It was strong, it just bloated right up.
I've had
never
it, I
blow
had
up.
it twice last week, you know, where I pulled the fish up. Now, one fish I caught today, I mean, I hooked him at 57 feet, and I said, okay, I'll just fight him real slow. But, I mean, that first run, he was at 82 feet of line out.
Wow.
So he was down, he went straight down, and I'm just kind of going, okay, and I fought him up real slow. But I did buy a descending device for that very reason, because
Okay.
you know, I want to be able to release these.
And it worked.
Yeah, well, I haven't used it yet.
Oh, okay.
You know, this one today, I didn't have it with me because I just want to put a hand line on it and drop it down, you know, with as opposed to putting it on a rod, because when I'm fishing my little boat, only got room for one rod, so.
And that's whatever you can do. You can buy a mechanical device. It's like $50-ish.
I bought, and what I was going to ask and what I didn't know was I bought one on Amazon. There's a couple videos out there. You can make them too. So I made
Yes,
one
that's
first.
what this is.
I made one first and it looked kind of hinky. So I said, okay, I got to find something. So I looked online and bought one online. And they talked about venting or fizzing a fish versus,
This is much better in
Oh, yeah, and
my
that's what this
estimation than
says. That's
fizzing.
what this says. But what I didn't know is how much weight to buy. So I paid as much for a lead weight, and I bought a 3-pound weight just because I said, for a bigger fish, you want to get them down quick. So I just got a 3-pound weight that'll tie onto that descending device and drop them down. But I want to get a hand line just like with a heavy-duty kite string and just be able to measure out, 50, 60 feet and drop them down. And then you just pull it out and it releases supposedly out.
They make another mechanical one that it looks like a BOGO grip end on it. So you just clamp it on the end, and then you attach some weights to it. And when you send it down, you set a pressure setting. And I bought one for the catch and release study. They have them for different depths, but this one was a 30, 50, I think. And you set it on 30 or 50. And once it hits that depth, the jaws just pop open and the fish swims off. I didn't want to pay Chad. We run in that same cheap line. I didn't want to pay $50 for a silly thing, so I just made one up myself. It's just a big old hook that I filed the barb off and some weight attached below it. And I've already used it twice now and there in the last couple weeks, and it works fine. I just hook this in the bottom jaw, and it seems to work better in the corner than the front. Hook it on, let it go, open the bail. Let a bunch of line go out, and if you can see the fish on your electronics, you can see how deep they are. I couldn't see them, but I just let it spool for quite a while, stop it, give it a little jerk, and it's pulled loose. Works fine. So if you want a really cheap way. But if you're catching deeper water fish in the wintertime and you're releasing, you can have something, like you said, you can put it on a piece of string, rolled up in a ball or, on a stick or something and stuck.
Just drop it over.
Yep, and it's in the wintertime when it's really cold. It's not important that you do everything in 20 seconds. These fish are really durable in the cold weather.
Most of the time in my little boat, I don't even take them out of the water. But, and I like you did, John. I mean, I tried for 15 minutes to revive these things. And they'd act strong. As soon as I let them go, they just roll right over. And I'm going,
They get tired.
These damn fish.
And the last one I did, I'd watch it, it'd swim down just about out of sight. And then it'd stop swimming. And as soon as it stopped swimming to take a break, it just whoop right back up like a bobber.
Yeah.
And then it goes, okay, I'll try it again. Does the same thing, gets down 4 or 5 feet. And as soon as it stops, it just pops right back up. It's not an issue with the fish's health. It's just that their gas bladder gets blown up because of depth and pressure and all that kind of thing, and it just makes them float. And if they're real tired from the fight and the handling, then they just can't figure it out. Because I'm watching one swim, and I think you're in 5 feet. If you just keep a slow, but they just don't rationalize very well. So
When you do that, Dan, do they get off that hook by themselves, or you got to jerk it up?
yeah, I just stop, and then you give it a jerk up because it doesn't have a barb. All the pressure of the weight is just pulling down on his jaw, and then as soon as I stop it, he may come off himself, but I've been just giving it a little pop, and he's gone.
Yeah.
And the hook's upside down?
Yes.
And the one I bought on Amazon was like $20. So
Okay.
I mean, that's a much less expensive way to go. But it's got the same concept. It's got the hook, upside down hook, and it's got a little bracket you can hook a weight to and just drop it on. I bought a 3-pound weight. I didn't know how much weight.
Yeah, I've got 4 2-ounce. No, they're not 2-ounce. Yeah, they're 4-ounce. So I got a pound on there.
Oh, wow, I got way too much.
I've got a pound on there, and I've done, the last fish I did was 27, 8 inches, and it went down like a rock. No problem.
3 pounds to get them down.
Yeah, big time.
Too.
Just throwing that out. If you're going to do winter fishing, you're doing jigging. It's kind of heartbreaking when you get a really big trophy fish, and technically they're illegal. But you catch a 20-pound fish, you're supposed to let it go, and if you really want to, and then it's sitting around, floating around on the surface, and there's nothing you can do about it.
And he'll die.
Potentially, if he doesn't ever figure out how to get down, yeah, he could die or something could happen to him. The really big one I caught that wouldn't go down, we kept fooling with him and eventually ended up fizzing him. But that's when I said that I don't want to ever have to do that again.
Yeah.
But there was we're just kind of, I said, well, let's just watch and give him 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes, see how long it takes and what he's going to do. He was still gilling fine, but then a loon showed up and it was stalking him. So I said, okay, it's time to do something else.
Why are you opposed to fizzing?
I haven't seen any science that where anybody's done any work that once you pop an air bladder like that it's going to heal and be fine at some point later on.
I just know with bass fishing, we do it all the time.
Yep. And a lot of times,
Just about
it hasn't even been well studied in bass. That's the problem. And people ask me all the time, and I don't know what the long-term injuries are. But for stripers, another concern, if it's somebody, if you're doing a lot and you've read up on it and you're ready for it, you probably know to insert the needle and all that. For most of us that just striper fish, yeah, they're poking a hole in them and they don't know, they didn't study. Well, I got a needle, but now I've got a floating fish, well, I got to poke them somewhere. And so they're not studied up on it. It just seems like a lot easier thing for the fish instead of,
poking a hole. Yeah.
yep. That's been my concern of just telling everybody just to go fizz fish is, first of all, if you're going to do it, you need to study ahead of time where you should insert, and you're not poking holes in some of the organs. But I've looked through the literature and asked, and nobody's really done any really good work on even bass to say that, you know, we're fizzing these and they're going back down and everything looks great, but what
happens after?
Where's that fish in a week? Maybe perfect.
Even the video I saw, it said, you know, you find that front fin and 4 fingers and you go underneath the last scale, and I'm kind of going, you know, I don't know. I don't have any faith
Feel
in
like
confidence.
comfortable.
He's flopping around.
Yeah, each flopping around the boat, and they say lay him on this side and do this. I'm going, I don't think that's a good idea.
Before
Next thing you know, you fizzed yourself.
before descending devices came around, it was in most cases, well, if you don't fizz them, they're going to be dead anyway.
Right.
So you might as well fizz them because the alternative is lethal.
Yeah.
So
Saturday night, that's what happens.
yeah. So up until recently, it was well accepted by bass fishermen because it's certainly better than that fish not making it. At least you can fizz them and they're going down, and you have some hope that fish is going to recover
Well, the
fine.
article I read too said that it's not just the bladder, because they get other gases in their system, and that fizzing them takes care of the bladder, but there's these other gases that build up when you bring them up.
There's all kinds of stuff that hasn't been studied with that.
Yeah.
That which makes me why I prefer to promote this as opposed to that. I tried to look, and I asked a lot of people in the business, and nobody's done any really good research on fizzing that I'm aware of. If they have, I haven't found it yet.
Hey, we've had a lot of good success putting weights
Oh,
on
after they rode it alive, well, all day.
the last 4 or 5 years. We've been trying to show people that if you get them into your live wells and put weights, it'll sink them to the bottom of the live well
For bass,
for bass, and it'll
And-
turn them vertical, and then they release.
there's something special about having that fish being upright. That doesn't happen if they're,
Yeah, 'cause I mean, I'm kind of like, you know, anytime you poke a hole anywhere, I mean, it can't be good.
yeah.
In there.
It can't be.
Okay, I'm taking up everybody's time.
Anything else for Dan? Appreciate it, Dan.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's, 80 degrees surface temperature. Maybe that's a new, once this winter, this summertime mortality study's over, then maybe the fizzing study is your next
I'm
one.
not starting up another one. You're just leaving it in somebody else's hands. But just to mention, the stuff's completely different with fish in cold temperatures. They get very few infections this time of year. Any kind, usually anybody, when they do transmitter, or you have to cut open a fish and insert something inside and sew them back up, it's always done in the cold part of the year because the fish survive really well from it's the difference between infections and problems with fish in warm water versus cold water is just huge. You cut open a fish and sew them up in the summer, even if you could get them to survive the handling from the temperatures, they'd be dead in a heartbeat just from infections, which we don't have that kind of problem in there.
That's good. That's good to know. We've got Pete with us.
Pete Jordan.
And is it Greensboro or Winston? Where are you?
Well, Youngsville, North Carolina.
Youngsville.
About 40 minutes north of Raleigh.
All right.
Little town.
Here is his, this would be the homepage of your website, right?
Correct.
Pete, take it from here, buddy.
All right, well, I was going to try to convince y'all that green lights work, but obviously we know that's the truth. What I've done is I've been in the fishing business since 2009. This is my product. It is this is a 12-volt light. It's a solid aluminum heat sink, epoxied over, which means no water can get to the diode. So this light will be the last one you have to buy as a mobile light. The weakest part about it is the clips. The light is very durable. You drag it behind the truck, you won't hurt it. We have 3 sizes, 18 watt, a 45, and a 70. And I'll show you what they look like. That's the 18 watt. And somebody's gonna walk away here tonight with this one right here. And we also have stainless steel underwater dock lights, which come in 12 volt or 110, and spreader lights for boats and black lights. That's what the 70 looks like. And I'm going to
approximate lumen on that? Like
they're 90 lumens per watt. I've got it written down. Just pass that around so everybody can put their hand on it and see what they look like. They're very durable. I've been in this business since 2009 to some degree. The 18 watt, 1665 lumens, the 45 is 4050, the 70 is 6300 lumens. They're plenty bright to do the job. What I found that works best if you're casting to that light, and he's exactly right, the longer that light's in the water, the more effective it's going to be. I fished down in Florida on a 40-year light for speckled trout, and there's a huge difference between the light that's been there and been on versus a light that comes on and off. There's no comparison in the efforts. Yes, sir.
Pete, how deep would you recommend putting these lights? Does it matter?
I am a firm believer in want to get the bait to the surface. That's what I think. The cords are 15 foot on these. I don't really know about this deep water. I've only fished up here a couple years. I'm a Car Lake fisherman, and what I found works best for me is I take a little piece of styrofoam, make a cradle, and I put 2 of these in that cradle, and I slide it off on a point where I know there's bait at during the day. I know there's bait there. I anchor that light off, and then I go on about my business, and I'll come back to that light, and there'll be fish there. After about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour.
And the light's still there?
Oh, yeah. There's 920 miles of shoreline on Car Lake. It's a lot of places.
A nice light.
Yeah, just drop the coordinates of that light.
Well, I don't go away. I mean, I don't disappear or nothing. But one thing I wanted to mention about this chat thing here. At Car Lake, if you ask the guy where he caught the fish, he's going to tell you to go talk to somebody. Yeah. He's not going to tell you anything. So this is a valuable piece because I've been on it for 3 days now, and I've been just following what's going on. It's going to really help. I'm going to leave the house in North Carolina, and I know where I'm going when I get here. I don't have to get up here and go, where are we going to go? Where are we going, Larry? Where are we going, Larry? So it's going to be very valuable. To speak to that, the other day I was watching Lake Norman's striper page and noticed they were catching a bunch of big hybrids. So I said, hey, I'm thinking about coming in a few days. Where do I need to start? The first reply I got, start with the water. Welcome to North Carolina. so that
and again, to the new members and people that haven't come much. So that used to be let me stand up. That used to be the standard answer.
Yeah.
In the Striper Club. And it turned a lot of people away. I'm going to be honest with you. That, hey, where'd you catch that fish? I caught him in the water. I caught him in the lake. But again, I'm going to give the membership a pat on the back. You guys have changed the narrative on that, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And this man, like he said, he's been on Group Me for 3 days, and he notices the difference.
Oh, yeah,
So
huge
that
difference.
is a big feather in the cap to you guys. Great job.
Yeah, if you ask them at Carl Lake where to go fishing, they'll say, well, you talk to my secretary, her name is Helen Waite. Go see Helen. Yeah, go to Helen Waite. That's exactly what they say. But anyway, back to the lights. These are 110 and 12 volt, and they come from anywhere from 1 watt, which is this little baby here, 3, 6, 8, 18, and 32. This is 18 watt here. So the 32 is a little bit bigger than that. And this one's white. I mean, that picture you've seen up here, the one you showed with the dock on there?
Sure.
That's, I think, 5 of those 9 watts is what that are. But to answer your question,
Is that the one feet?
yeah. Yeah, that's 5. That's Gaston
What is
Lake.
that showing?
That's 5 of these. But those are just under the water now.
Just under.
Yeah, and a lot of, like he said, you got to clean these things. They don't heat up enough to burn it off. So if you're going to do it, you got to put them so you can put them down there and put them back up. If you got an aluminum dock, use a piece of aluminum flat bar, mount that on there, slide it down in the water, attach it to your dock, pull it back up. If it's wood, just use a piece of treated wood, slide it down. Do your connections and all above the water. When you need to clean it, every couple, 3 months, more in the summer than in the winter, pull it up, clean it, set it right back down there.
All of your lights are LED based, right?
Yeah, I don't have anything but LEDs. They don't work in salt water. The barnacles will eat them up. So
Yes.
it's a freshwater application. Spreader lights for your boat. Black light. Have y'all ever used any black lights in your boat? It's the way to do it. I mean, because they don't hurt your eyes, they don't scare the fish, and you can see what you're doing, and just keep it on all the time. And they work really well, and they're inexpensive. This retails for $40. This one is retails for $100. The next size is 74, and the smaller one is 59. Smith Mountain Striper Club gets a discount. If you go to my website to order, there'll be a place to put in a discount code, the acronym Smith Mountain Lake Striper Club, so SMLSC. Will get you 10% off.
All right.
How much is the big light?
This one, that's an 18 watt to 32 watts, $193. And I can't tell you what, 153 or something like that for the 18 watt.
Green or white's the same price?
Right, in those I've probably got, these green lights, I probably got 400 or 500 of each in stock. Those lights are different. You have to name, when you go to the website, you have to name what color you want, what size you want, whether you want it 12 volt or 110, and the length of the cord. So I don't have all those in inventory, but I can, get them within 3 weeks. And I can also get some floodlights or a street light to put above water as well. All of those are,
Summer.
huh?
Too many bugs in the summer.
I agree. I think underwater lights are the best way to go. But to answer your question, depending on the water depth that you have, the wattage that you're using, and the clarity of the water at where you're at all this water is pretty clear. So you could probably put it down 6 or 8 foot and still get good illumination to the surface. But again, get the bait to the surface is what you really want to do, because what I use it for more than catching fish is catching bait. Yeah.
Hey Chad, mine's just dirty, you come on and clean it.
Excuse me?
He's talking to
Jim's my neighbor over there. I was telling him he needed to clean his light, and he put that back on me that I could come clean his light for him.
There's some good lights out there. I think I offer one of the best warranties in the business, though. 1 year full warranty, as long as you only using 12 volt on it. The 110s, they're a year warranty as well. replacement warranty now. That's about all I got. Question?
You're building these?
I was, I'm not now. Mr. Little Chinese are building them for me now.
You want to show some pictures here, Pete?
Sure, go right through them. This is Joe, that's my sidekick. The America.
What's going on? If you didn't break it down by what? That little man on that picture right there, he's caught so many 2-pound crappie bugs out. His name is 2-Pound Joe.
I see. I met Barrick on the water one day. We're out there, we're fishing right there in this creek, and he puts on by us. We were trying our best to catch a fish. We caught several that day. He goes right out there past us, and he sits there. I'm thinking, like, probably eating a bologna sandwich. I don't know what he's doing, but he's catching one right after another. So we stroll over there, introduce myself, and
That's how we met.
yeah, that's how we met. And I go coming up here, I'd be calling America, hey, America, where do I need to go? And he'd tell me what he knew, so which is pretty unique because you don't get that at Carl Lake.
Can these 12 volts, I know it would probably void your warranty, but can they be converted over to 110s?
No,
They can't?
no, they will not.
110 converter?
You could use a 110 converter.
Oh, you could, yeah.
Yeah, you could convert it down. Yeah,
120 to 12 volt converter,
Yeah.
2 amps for a 18 watt,
Okay.
and it runs, that's what I'm running mine.
So they don't make a 110 green light?
I don't sell it, no, because I don't want to be liable for anybody getting killed on the water. I used to, my story is I started building LED light, flounder gig lights back in the early 2000s. Well, I built them in early 80s, but they were all 110. I retired, I moved to the beach, I started building flounder lights. I did an Animal Planet show. Next thing I know, I'm sending flounder lights all over the southeast. And I went to LEDs, 12 volt, to keep from killing anybody, because there are idiots everywhere. And I just didn't want a kid to get hurt. That's what I was scared of.
Right here.
Excuse me?
Which light is this that we're showing?
That's the same one. That's that one he's got right there. Those are the 45s on that. Yeah, that's in Santee Cooper.
Okay. And that lake's not as clear, Smith Mountain.
That's a dirty lake right there. Santee Cooper is a dirty lake. That was late fall. That's when that was.
Do you offer any kind of shrouding for your cable? Have you ever thought about doing that?
Any what now?
Shrouding for the bottom of your cable from where it leaves the light, first 3 feet of it or so? I got 2 laying on my dock now that either a muskrat or mink or otter. They eat them right when it comes out of just for.
All of this right here is just primarily portable lighting. Anything that's like this, they put them in conduit.
Yeah, I was encased in conduit. I had the same problem.
I did. I was going over that.
Any wires that went through my dock, they were chewing through them.
Yep, I had that happen too.
This right here is a solar-powered dock light kit. It's a U.S. Army Corps light, approved light that I built several years ago because kids started getting killed on docks in the Grand Lake of Ozark. Two kids got killed. The very next month, 2 kids got killed in Arkansas. And then about a year later in Smith Lake in Cullum, Alabama, 2 kids got killed. I built that to try and solve that problem. So if you got a hunting club that you don't have power on or a dock that you don't have power on, we got those too. They are not on my website though. Okay. So, any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've got an interest in catching bait, as everybody does, of course. But I live almost an hour from the lake. My boat's at a marina and I lift. And if I'm catching bait, I gotta throw a net. So, I can't be on the dock and throw the net right at my feet. Do you have any thoughts or suggestions on?
Yeah, I would.
And it's an hour away from the lake because I can't just run down and turn the light on.
Keep
I
it
would,
right on.
I would find out. I would find out where these guys' docks are. That's what I would do.
Beating Motel 6.
Well,
Light on.
yeah.
What I
Marina, so I don't know that I can leave anything in the water like that.
What I've done is, like I said, build a little cradle out of a styrofoam and put these little batteries in there, and I hang 2 of them off of the edge. It's just a piece of styrofoam like this. It's got two batteries set in there, taped on with a duct tape, and then just hook the lights to it. I drop it at a point. Where I do this at is at Carl Lake mostly, because I know where the bait's going to be at certain times of year because I've spent so much time up there. I'll pull off to a point that leads out to the deep water, and I'll drop it right at the end of that point. Got a brick tied to it, anchoring it off. Then I go fish. I'll come back in an hour. I can catch all I want in 15 minutes.
I've got mine on the flagpole. I put a flagpole up so it's out away from my dock. So, and sometimes I put a white light out there, but right now I got a submersible green light.
Right.
I put it like 2 or 3 feet below the surface. So I got it on a flagpole, so when the bait's out there, like you said, it was hiding underneath my dock, and I said, it's not working, I gotta get it on a flagpole. So it's like 10 feet off my dock, which makes it a lot easier.
When you say how deep,
How deep
I got mine 2 or 3 feet.
Huh?
How deep is your water where you have
On the point.
Probably 15 feet.
15 foot right there at the end, and it falls off into 50-foot water. Carl Lake, 50-foot water is pretty deep.
Top end.
Talking about where we
I haven't had this to happen to me, but I've had multiple people tell me this, and I sent John a video. Y'all know Tommy Thompson, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Tommy, went fishing with Tommy a couple years ago, and I gave him a light as a part of a tip. And he finally tried it last year, and he put it on. He said, well, I had some bait over by this dock that I couldn't throw the net, and I dropped this light out, and I brought every bit of that bait to me. And then he threw his net and got what he needed. His words, Pete, well, y'all know Tommy, Pete, finally got around to trying your light. It was nothing less than amazing. That's all he said. And it was. It's a pretty good video. But I got a lot of different products. I can pretty much build a solar charger for your batteries. I can build dock lights out of solar. I can pretty much do anything you need done. Everything that's on the website, you get Smith Mountain Lake Club members get 10% discount. Don't share it with anybody. This is for you guys, not for the general population. Yes, sir.
So for the dock lights and stuff, they've got the LEDs that you can change the color. Have you considered using those?
I can get those. Those are not part of my inventory. It's not on my website. That's a special order item. You guys familiar with Goodberry's ice cream?
What's that?
Goodberry's ice cream stores. Y'all don't know? They're big in North Carolina. All of the Goodberry's ice cream stores got my lights in their fountains out front, and they got them on a rotation, changing colors constantly. So yeah, that's doable. Just need to know what you need, you know. If you want to be cool, we'll do red, white, and blue.
All right. Anybody got any other questions?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
I have a green LED light that I put off my dock. I wrap it in saran wrap, and then when I take it out, I can just take that saran wrap off, put new on it, and it keeps it perfectly clean.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good idea. Never heard of that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, it works great.
Because it's not going to get hot to melt it.
It doesn't get hot.
No, it doesn't get hot.
As long as it isn't hot. And when I take that saran wrap off, it looks brand new.
I'll be dang. That's a good idea.
I need to know where some of those dock lights are.
Hey, stick around afterwards. That's when the good talk starts.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, the good talk.
I'm 2.5 hours from you guys. Well, every time I come up here, it's a challenge. Last time I ran over a deer on 29, tore out my headlight on my truck. That truck splattered all down the side, blood splattered all down the side of my truck and on my boat. I got out of the truck, went back to the truck after I put the boat on. I said, good night, somebody killed somebody over here. It looked terrible.
Well, we appreciate you coming tonight. Thank you.
Glad to do it. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, so let's do the main attraction.